Enemy of the state.
An enemy of the state.
Enemy of the state.
Dank Podstash.
You're listening to Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash. The Podstash is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Let us know where you want to listen, and we'll release there as well.
If you want to help us improve the podcast, check out our shops at blackmarketmemes.threadless.com and dankpodstash.threadless.com. Links will be provided. Anything you buy helps us make the Podstash better. Business owners and creators, advertise on the Dank Podstash. Reach a larger audience, make more sales. Email us at dankpodstash@gmail.com for details.
Washington State listeners, please check out Washington State Anarchists and Libertarians Facebook group. Help us expand the Agora face to face. All right, we've made it to what the hell is happening?
Oh my god.
Was that you going in your front door?
Yep. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm leaving this in. Maybe we'll put up some bloopers at some point.
Oh my god.
Sounded like you were opening the drawbridge to a giant fucking castle or something.
Yeah, my door's pretty noisy.
Well, now that you're across
All
the
right.
moat, let's try this again. All right. In 3, 2, 1. All right. I think we've made it to episode 14 of Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash. I'm here. My name is Nick. I'm here with my co-host, David. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I'm super excited to get into discussion today with Mike Smith of Smith Pyrography. And if you haven't looked at his Facebook business page, I highly recommend it. He does commission work with pyrography, and it's all beautiful. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, and thanks for the compliment, sir.
Oh, I
How are
told
you
it like
guys
a
doing
teaser.
today?
Doing good. Doing good.
How are you
Excellent.
guys doing today? Good.
I gotta say,
Very good.
Smith Pyrography's logo is pretty dank.
You may be biased on that.
Maybe a little bit. It's not as dank as
Yeah,
the artwork
yeah,
coming out,
maybe
but
a little bit. I wonder who made the logo.
I don't know. But if
This guy
anybody
named
needs
Nick Irwin.
logos
He's
for...
really good at it.
If anybody needs logos for businesses and whatnot, hit us up at the Dank Podstash, dankpodstash@gmail.com. All right, back to Mike.
nice little plug there for both of us.
There it is. Hell yeah. So what are we talking about today, Mike?
I don't know. One, I guess my pyrography business. I've been doing it for about 2 years now.
Nice.
I was working one night, and I walked past the craft aisle, and I saw the little kit, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool," and I just picked it up, and it was only a hobby. Like I did a couple things, and I was like, "Oh, this is," and then people started asking for stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, this could turn into something." So that's how that started.
Nice. Found a little
Did a
market.
bunch of just free stuff at the beginning. Yeah. Well, and like one of my neighbors is a old tattoo artist. He's been doing it for a long time. He's way better than I am, but he's been like helping me out, and my stuff's only gonna get better, hopefully.
Oh,
I
that's
got a lot
awesome.
of stuff planned for next year. Yeah.
I can
might
only
do the-
imagine how good it'll be.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
I-
I already teased the one photo of the skateboards, and I know I've talked to you a couple times about it, David. But yeah. I have a plan for a whole bunch of skateboards coming out.
Nice.
I'm about that.
That's really awesome. I really liked that Viking
Most
hand
of them are
axe.
going to be anarchy inspired. Yeah, that's the longest project I've ever did.
Nice.
That took me a long time, and I kind of spanned it out over a couple months because I would do a little and then just be like, okay, I got other stuff to do, and then, but yeah, no, that it turned out really nice. I was really happy with it. I plan on doing more of those. I like doing those custom. I mean, I have a couple ideas for ones I might just do, like the one I already did.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping more people. I'd rather do custom ones
Sure.
because then people can pick out their own Viking symbols and their own stuff to put on it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
So,
think it was beautiful.
do they just get at you on Facebook at Smith Pyrography?
Yeah, that's right now. That's the only way to go about getting a hold of me for that stuff, other than my personal page. I have plans to set up like an Etsy page in the near future. I just got to get inventory to post on there,
For
which
sure.
right now I've just been doing as people ask for stuff. I mean, I have some pieces that I do off a whim, but most of the time it's just custom work.
Nice. Hell yeah. And you do everything from, I've seen like Rick and Morty stuff, to Celtic knots and whatnot, and anarchy stuff, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, the Celtic knotwork stuff is my favorite stuff to do. I like doing the Celtic stuff and the Norse Viking stuff. I'm really big into that. Hence why I did the Celtic knotwork peace, love, and anarchy sign, that's probably one of my most popular things. That I've sold quite a few of those.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, I think those look, they're fucking cool.
And a good message too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one on a skateboard. Yeah,
Nice.
and I try.
Hell yeah.
So I know you wanted to.
Go
I
ahead.
know you wanted to talk about your journey to anarchism from wherever you started your ideological, understanding.
Yeah. Because I mean, I haven't got to tell that very often to very many people because most of the people in the community just assume stuff, and it's been a nice ride for over the last few years. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, like, people that you were friends with back in the day, you change your ideology to what we believe, and you butt heads with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that.
But I don't know, I guess let's see, where did it start? I voted for, last time I wrote in Ron Paul during the 2012 elections. That's the last time I voted. And I will say that he got me towards my path of liberty, even though, and I know a lot of other people that can probably say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the only politician that I somewhat respect.
Definitely. Had an effect on a lot of people.
He definitely brought a lot of people to the ideas that we hold now, but
Yeah.
So credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I've evolved past that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, that, and then I hate to admit it, but I mean, some of what pushed me more towards liberty, not the thing that somewhat pushed me away from the statist thinking. I mean, I started watching and researching, like I started reading books, like I read The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. That book completely changed my outlook on a lot of things, like 100%.
That's good.
And then I read No Constitution by Lysander Spooner,
Mm-hmm.
and then Anatomy of the State by Rothbard.
Oh yeah.
Is that Rothbard?
Yeah, that's right. Anatomy of the State.
But and then I mean, it's just other things like when like my son was like 3, I got pulled over by the police for having expired tags, and I had gotten some tickets before that, and I kind of ignored the tickets. Well, when I got pulled over, they told me my license was expired. and put me in handcuffs in front of my son and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I was never notified of this. Apparently, the state of Illinois doesn't have to notify you if they suspend your license.
Oh, isn't that nice?
So that was a push. And then, as David knows, I've told him a couple times, I'm originally from Flint, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole water thing that's going on there, and how I don't see how more people from my hometown don't think the way I do because of what's going on.
What's their general feelings
it's
on the
almost
matter?
5 years now without clean water. There's a lot of pissed off people, but it's like there's a lot of people pissed off at the government, but yet they still feel it's just because they had the wrong government.
Right.
Like the people that they have in charge now, when I haven't done anything about it either, and they've changed. I don't think Flint's had they just recently got a mayor, and then that mayor was corrupt. They got rid of it, but before that they went 2 or 3 years, I think, without even any city government.
Really?
Like
I
the
was not
state,
aware
they
of
brought
that.
in the state police because the state police patrol the streets of Flint right now because the Flint police and fire department is so overwhelmed. Because Flint's one of the murder capitals of the United States. People always look at Chicago, and it's just the south side of Chicago, and in Flint, it's the north side of Flint. But it's, with only a population of 100,000 people, and it used to be way more. They only have maybe I think 60 police officers. Although I don't think they need it, because it's not as bad as some people would portray it.
Right.
But it's bad because there's what can they do? They have to bring in bottled water to survive.
Yeah, it's just a shitty
Well,
situation.
it seems like the
all
kind of
around.
environment that would facilitate people starting to be extremely anti-government, anti-state. But if that information is out there, it's hard to get people to find it. It's to us, we're inundated with it. It's constantly all around us, but we've embedded ourselves in a community that's mostly what is talked about. And to the regular, before I found the libertarian anarchist sphere on Facebook, I never saw any of the information that we see on a daily basis. So it's more a lack of information getting to them, really, I would think.
And I completely agree with that, because before I met all the people that I've met that are anarchists or libertarians, and I'm even friends. I think there might be a couple of AMCOMs on my page now, which I'm cool with now. When I first got into anarchism, I considered myself an ANCAP. I read the whole ANCAP Bible, if you want to call it, the one that Chase Rachel's wrote or whatever.
Oh God.
Gross.
I read that, and there was some good stuff in there, but that I moved away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And what especially pushed me away from the ANCAP community was everybody rooting for Trump.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's no, this is not what it's supposed to be about. And then the whole borders thing, and when Larkin debated Chase, and there was that whole big argument for a couple weeks about borders, that pushed me away even more.
Mm-hmm.
Now I basically tell people I'm a voluntarist agorist.
There you go.
I believe in black flag. I'm black flag. I don't want no hyphen.
Yeah.
Same here. That's pretty much exactly the same stuff that drove me away from that ANCAP side, because I was over there too. And yeah, just seeing all that, and then there's just a lot of infiltration from a lot of weird fringe groups really drove me away. It's I don't want to be associated with these people. And then just finding unhyphenated anarchy and realizing that's a thing, and wanting to work with any kind of anarchist to achieve, our common goal of ending the state, or even more so, our common goal of freedom and a better world. That's what really pushed me as well. So that's cool to hear. You had mentioned the problem with a lot of the thinking in Flint was that people know that there's a problem with government, and yet they think that just a different government is going to be able to solve it. And I think that's the highest hurdle to overcome when talking with people, and it's a huge one in this yellow vest world awakening going on right now. That's one that just constantly pops up.
Yeah, I've noticed that too from the group and stuff. It's the whole yellow vest thing. Like, hey, I posted tons of stuff about that. I think this is an opportunity for us as anarchists to get out there and reach people. And I know, Nick, you agree with me on that, because some of the discussions that on Facebook and stuff, I mean, it's just, it seems like a lot of anarchists are overlooking this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well,
it seems that people find one possibility of something they disagree with in anything, and then that just means that the whole thing's garbage and they don't want anything to do with it. And we covered that on the last episode.
Absolutely.
Where,
which was a very good episode, by the way.
People find misinformation and then they run with it, and they think that's, the gospel truth about what's going on. And then, you're seeing in the groups right now, there's no agreement, and people want to make demands. What are our demands? Well, are you appealing to the government? Like, are you begging them for things? Because that's all really, demanding is. You're not really demanding. You're begging for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if they appease you and just give you a few of these demands, are you then just going to back down? Because that doesn't say a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah, not at all. And the one way I look at it is, like, everybody's like, oh, revolution, blah, blah, blah. I think there needs to be an evolution of consciousness, and then we won't need a violent revolution.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's never going to happen if people aren't taking the opportunities like this to talk to people.
Absolutely.
People that are pissed off at the government.
Yep. Yeah, we've said before.
And it's really disappointing, and some of the people.
And in other places that, violent revolution is going to leave a power vacuum, and you're 100% right with the evolution of consciousness, because once you take away the oppression and the structure of what we have now, if you take that away violently, there's still going to be a bunch of people that's all they know, and so they're going to want to put a new one right back in place.
Yeah, just another group of violent people are going to. Yeah, it's just going to be. It's the same cycle.
Yep. Now, I got to say, I'm not against
it's like that the one
self-defensive force at all. I always have to make that clear, because people assume pacifism when you say stuff like that. But like getting out there and getting your ideas heard, and even just living as freely as you can, you're going to get flack from the government, and I'm not going to put up with any bullshit when they come after me. And I don't think a lot of other people are, and we need to back each other up with that same attitude.
And I agree. I 100% agree with that. No, trust me. I'm all about peace, love, and anarchy. But if I have to stand up for myself, my son, and my friends, trust me, I will.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a big misunderstanding, with people, is that they think that, oh, well, you want peaceful, so that means you're not going to do anything when they, are trampling on you. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
No, and you're right. A lot of people do assume that. I don't know how, like, this is what I don't get. Like, I'll sit there and I'll try and explain my beliefs and principles to, say, one of my family members or one of my friends, and I'll do it in a calm manner, and it's like a light bulb's going off in their head, but they don't want to accept the fact.
Oh yeah.
That what I'm saying could be right. They would just it's just weird when I actually speak to people, because and it doesn't happen very often. Most of the time it's through Facebook, and people.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it throws people off, that flips their whole worldview upside down. Something that they've, thought that they understood their whole lives. When you come at them with the information that we, present, it's frightening.
Yeah, because it goes against their whole belief system. Exactly. Like they get angry because they don't know how to process the information because they've been indoctrinated since birth to respect authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And some people see it as an attack on them.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it makes people uncomfortable to realize that personal responsibility is a thing. You have to have personal responsibility and take care of your own needs and issues, your own family, your community. That's something that everyone has to do without government. And it's not like government does that in the first place. But this crowdfunding for the wall is a perfect example. And yet they still don't see it. People crowdfunding the wall have decided, hey, this is something we want. This is something we want to happen in our, I guess, kind of a bigger community because it's the continental U.S. And they say, okay, let's do this. And it's a great point that destroys the, what about my roads argument and anything else that people think they need to rely on the government for. It's like, look, here you go. That's how you do it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I normally tell people is like anything that you want or your community wants and needs can be funded through voluntary means.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for a middleman that uses aggression and violence. I mean, if you want that thing, are you not going to pay for it because you're not being threatened?
Right.
Like, I don't. It should be so easy of a concept to grasp, but it's not for a lot of people.
Some people are presenting it as like a victory. Like, see, we said we would get these things, and somehow, even though it's not through government, they're being like, see, we've done it with the government. And it's like, no, you guys did it voluntarily on your own.
Yeah,
And
without the middleman.
You're proving my point here, and somehow twisting it around to say that it's some victory. Like, look what Trump did. Trump didn't do shit.
Yeah.
It's weird the place that people are taking that conversation. It's just very strange. Like some people have even tried to discredit the whole thing by saying, well, they didn't actually do anything. Well, first, they haven't reached their goal yet is one of the first things. They've raised a lot of money. So, yeah, they haven't quite accomplished it yet. But they're saying they haven't accomplished anything because they still have to go through the process of, getting the land to build the wall on, eminent domain, talking with private property owners, all that stuff. And they're like, see, doesn't matter. They didn't do anything. It's like, no, they did a lot by raising that money. And this is not, praising the idea of raising money for a wall. It's just praising the idea of raising money for a public function.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will try to misconstrue that as, oh, these guys are now being like, oh, yeah, the wall. No, fuck you all. But at the same time, if you want it, you're doing it voluntarily. Hey, whatever. I seriously doubt it's ever going to happen. Like, you could raise all the money you want, but there's so many things in the way,
including
like what Nick said with the eminent domain and things, and you're still using. Yeah. I mean, and there's going to be people all along the way that are going to be in their way, and that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Like I even saw that there's a GoFundMe for someone as a joke. I think they put ladders for the wall so that people could get over the wall still. Like, and there's it's.
Well, now there's also one for landmines around the ladders that are going to go over the wall to keep people from climbing the ladders. I think that.
I mean, I'm all about voluntary means, but that's just kind of absurd.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious.
That is a straight up ANCAP straw man right there. Like, I'm putting landmines around. Like, we bought the property around your ladder, so now we're putting landmines on them, but it's our property. So what you gonna do about it, huh?
Yep.
Fucking ANCAP ball with the thumbs up right there. Somebody should make that meme.
Well, it's
them
interesting.
and their homeowners associations.
Yeah, there's an interesting lesson here too, in that what they're doing, what they're funding, the thing that they want to build is going to affect so much outside of their own, communities or even private property. They want to fund a wall that's going to affect other people's property and places that they have no say over what happens there. So it's a good lesson in crowdfunding for different functions, but it's definitely an opportunity to tell people, hey, look, see why this is not going to work, but look, if you turned it inward, if you did this in your community voluntarily with people around you to take care of the needs of your neighborhood, of your family, of your friends, look how well this would work, and you won't have to be paying taxes that you don't know where they go. It goes into a big pool, and it goes to military and all this other stuff, and all the things that you want are still underfunded. Infrastructure, schools, all that stuff. You don't know that this money's going there or not, but if you took the initiative to crowdfund it yourselves in your own community, it would probably work.
Exactly, and I agree with that. And now it's just everybody's like, "Oh, the government's shut down." Like, no, they're still taking taxes out of your check and paying military and police. They're still open for business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the police are still running around fucking with people. It's not. Yeah, I don't. How many times does the government have to shut down before people are like, it really doesn't matter?
Right. Yeah, everybody's
Maybe
still
that's
getting
why
paid.
so much of the GoFundMe's getting attention right now, because the government is shut down.
When was it? It wasn't that long ago that there was another government shutdown. What, like a year ago?
Yeah,
Not
last
even?
year.
I don't even think it was a year ago. Was it last year?
Yeah. Maybe even a little more than last year. I just remember people were making those profile filters that said, I support government shutdown.
Well, there was one before
Yeah.
that too. There's been a few,
Well, yeah, it's happened a bunch of times, but it hasn't actually really
I
happened.
think it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, just think that it actually really happened. Oh my God.
Right?
Everybody would go living on day to day, doing their same thing, only they wouldn't be getting robbed and threatened and extorted and kidnapped and murdered and beaten, and
I
the
do
list goes
think
on.
this is an excellent opportunity for yellow vest movements to gain some traction during government shutdown, because there are certain buildings and whatnot that are not going to be occupied by government agents. So that's don't want to suggest anything too openly there, but put two and two together, will you?
Cough, cough.
Look at Bundy Ranch situations and following, and think about that.
People don't like to think about that, though.
I know.
And they don't like to think that their almighty government does anything terrible or evil.
Well, there's always some way for them to justify it.
Well, the federal government
Yeah.
shut down, but does that mean like the local and state governments are closed down as well?
It depends on funding and where it
Nope,
comes
just
from.
I'm pretty sure it's just the federal.
I'm
sure
not
they
sure.
have enough.
I haven't looked into it enough. I was just like, oh, another government shutdown. What do you fucking do?
Well, that's honestly something that I've been thinking about a lot too. Is like I don't follow government stuff very closely at all anymore, because I just really don't give a fuck about it. It's something I'm not interested in. I'm more interested in the principles and actually living as freely as possible and getting these ideas out there. So when people bring stuff up about a lot of the logistics and all that, I understand that people want to know how are things going to work without government. That's a valid concern. But at the same time, I think maybe it was you, Michael, who posted a Robert Higgs quote the other day about
The Robert Higgs quote?
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's exactly how I feel. I fucking love Dr. Higgs.
And well, that in his quote were the argument is to be made by the statists and not by us, because anarchy's chaos and craziness is just them thinking that and being told that's what it is, rather than where we can show that we can prove that government's evil and all the evil shit they've done. I mean, they're the mass murder champions of the world. Like,
Yep. That is 100% true. It's easily seen and provable the violence that they've perpetuated, and I think it's easily seen and provable the peace and freedom that people living an anarchist lifestyle. It's right there that people living that lifestyle show all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and this, I don't know. Like I said, my journey is I went from being like, it's kind of like the 5 stages of grief, like when you wake up, or I'm not going to use the word woke because I really kind of hate that word,
Yeah.
but when you realize, I'm going to say the truth about government and authority and stuff, you get kind of angry, and then you get kind of sad, and then you get angry again, and like it didn't. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm angry all the time, but this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's going on with the way that we're treated as a species, like, and what we do is just, I don't know. And people ask me why I post all the stuff that I post all the time, and I was like, I'm just trying to get you guys to think. Like,
sure.
I want a better world for my son to live in, and the world's only getting crazier and more fucked up.
Yep. Well, they say ignorance is
because
bliss.
Of governments.
It's a pretty harrowing reality once you learn the truth.
Yes.
So how did you go from writing in Ron Paul to ANCAP? What was the thing that made you notice that anarchism, at least ANCAPism at that time, was the best?
I have a friend that he was ANCAP-agorist, and he kind of introduced me to the whole ANCAP thing. But right before that, like after the stuff happened in Flint and stuff like that, I hate to admit it, but I watched a lot of anonymous videos.
Sure.
And some of them made sense. Like, some of them I knew were probably bullshit, but the ones where they were talking about all the war and how these governments were doing all these evil things, like those videos, like, and I mean, just the destruction we're doing to our planet and stuff. I mean, those videos opened my eyes. And then I just started, when he got me into the ANCAP thing, and that's when I read the Spontaneous Order, and then I learned about Larkin Rose, and I read his book, and then I learned, then so on and so on, and then I started meeting all these other people, and I was in that ANCAP debate group for a little while.
Oh God, that was awful.
And I would just, yeah, and then there was another one I was in too that Zizian was in charge of, but I can't remember the name of it.
Anarcho-debatism?
Yeah, I was in that one, and I think that's where I met you, David.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I met you. And I mean, some of the conversations, like, I'll admit, when I was at ANCAP, I used to battle with ANCOMs a lot. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't do that anymore because I've moved past that. I mean, I don't care if they want to believe what they want to believe. I mean, communism, sorry, I'm just not going to work ever. In my mind, at least. I know there's people that will debate me on that, but I don't know. Its track record is kind of eh.
I mean, all of that reminds me of, ways that I found anarchism and the ideology I hold now. Watching, funny enough, it was videos, not necessarily anonymous videos, but old Alex Jones documentaries and stuff I found in, like, middle school. And they were all right back then. Like, I could fact check them, and a lot of, if not all of it, in those original documentaries were legitimate.
Yeah.
And that brought me down that path, and then, I moved away from giving a fuck about the Alex Jones and that whole thing, and then it got it to become a shit show. But, that was what really made me start thinking and looking into other things. And then, like what you said, Mike, about, when you were an ANCAP, I hung around ANCAPs when I first found the anarchist libertarian community, and I never claimed to be an ANCAP. Like, but I would say, I supported free markets, and because that's what I was about. That made sense to me. But it got to a point where it was just too too divisive. Like nobody on either side would listen to, actually listen to the other person talking. It was just throwing out straw men and ad homs and just how badly can we destroy the other person in this argument. It wasn't about, figuring out what to do. It was about winning, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly, and I don't know. It just got to the point where I'm like, eh. I mean, it started. Rich and I think his name Jason introduced me to Carl Hess,
mm-hmm.
and I've been reading some of that stuff, and it's interesting. And then I mean, I just the whole ANCAP, ANCOM thing, and the whole just the hyphen, like why? Like I understand that you have a different economic view, but we all have. The one thing I'd like to see in the community, but I don't know if it'll ever happen, is why can't we just put aside the whole economic stuff? We need to focus on one thing and one thing only right now, and it's getting out there and talking to people and getting them to hate the state, because that's what needs to happen. None of us can live the way we want to if that doesn't happen, because we're just focusing on stupid economic stuff rather than the main goal.
Exactly. Neither sides in that can actually, try out their economic theories because of the state, and nobody seems to get that through their head. They're like, okay, well, here's this big thing. We can argue all day long on the internet, but it doesn't change. It changes nothing. Like we can, debate these theories, but we can't even really try them because of the state. So why don't we do something about the state?
Exactly, and then like we brought up earlier with the yellow vest thing that's going on, the movement that's going on. Like this is an opportunity, and it just kind of perplexes me. You got these anarchists, self-proclaimed anarchists, and don't get me wrong, they're my friends. I like them, but the fact that they're speaking out against this and calling anybody a collectivist that wants to get together with other anarchists and go out there and talk to people.
Right.
That's not collectivism. That's just us wanting to go out there and spread some knowledge, because this is a perfect opportunity. And I don't get why they have to throw out insult. Like don't call me a collective. I'm not a collectivist just because I want to go out there and spread knowledge, like with other people.
Absolutely.
Well, I think they've taken individualism too far, and they think that any time that you even two people come together and have an idea and they want to work towards it, that's the dreaded collectivism.
Yep.
And I don't understand that.
Word.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nick and I talk about that all the time. He's like, I'm tired of having to not say we. And I'm like, well, then you should just not. You should say we, because it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like that's how, like, it's not collectivist to think like that at all.
Well,
and a lot of these people who
with that hyper individualism is, a lot of people say you can only affect yourself. You can only affect change within yourself. And it's like, motherfucker, where did you get these ideas from? They didn't just pop into your head all of a sudden. Somebody else affected you with their ideas. Yeah,
like from my journey from going from an ANCAP to just a Black Flag agorist, like now, that's taken place over probably just the last year and a half, 2 years. Like, and it was my opinions changed with new information, and that's the way everybody's opinions that's the way it should work, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, intake information and react accordingly.
Definitely.
I just know one thing that's not going to change is I hate the state. I hate everything about it. And it saddens me that we live in a world where more people don't realize this.
Yep. Well, one thing that I've found that I think keeps me a little more positive and might be better overall, I think I've said it on the show before, if you're focusing so hard on that hatred of the state, it's something, that of course, that the state's no good and you don't want it. But it's kind of like that cloud in front of the sun. And the beautiful brilliance of the sun is the cultural evolution, an evolution in humankind towards freedom. It's a little bit better thing to focus on. while not ignoring the state.
And I agree with that. That was deep, man.
He gets real deep, man. Sometimes I don't even know what to do. He'll throw me a curveball, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, I just noticed there's so much negativity
there's
and so much sadness and hate, and it's all focused on the state, and you're focusing on it's almost like a subversion from the state. They want you to focus on them. They don't want you to see the solutions outside of it.
I know, and I agree with that, and that's one of the reasons why. So the whole backpack thing I'm doing this year.
Yes, definitely.
I got
tell
the
us all
idea
about
from
that.
a friend. I got the idea from a friend who did it in Flint, and it turned out really successful. I can't remember how many backpacks they handed out, but it turned out, I guess, really good. So I was like, oh, I want to do that. Well, the opportunity came up because I'm an overnight supervisor at a Walmart. There, I said it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No shame, man. No shame.
I've been there for like 8.5 years. So, I make a decent wage. I have full benefits for me and my son. And yes, it does suck working for Walmart. I will say that. But, it's a job.
Sure.
But, they had clearance backpacks left over from the back-to-school season. And I was like, oh, this could be my perfect opportunity to do something like that. So I grabbed 50 of them.
Nice.
I grabbed all the plain colored ones they had, and my manager let me have them for $1 a piece.
Hell yeah.
So and I just went from there. And it's turned out I got a bunch of boxes of stuff in my living room right now, along with a bunch of wood. It's like my living room was covered in wood and Amazon boxes.
Nice. So you're putting together just packs of necessities and whatnot for just people in need in the area, right? And you're funding it completely by yourself?
No, I didn't. Well, no, my son's grandmother donated $100.
Oh, cool.
His grandfather donated. Well, they bought 2 pieces, so they donated like $160 minus the cost of the pieces and well, not really the cost of the pieces, the cost of the shipping.
Sure.
And then John from Made in Anarchy, he's bought a couple pieces, and then he bought the last piece he bought. They did I told him I was only going to charge him like $30 for the piece, but then he sent me $100, and he said use the rest towards the backpacks. So
nice.
But I did more than that. So I got $290 of my, well, not $260 of my own money out of my pocket, and then all the donations help pay for everything else. I only have one more thing to pick up, and that's the snacks. I was going to try and do it this weekend, but I'm having trouble narrowing down the exact locations I want to do it.
Sure. And
finding people to help hand out the backpacks, because right now it's just me and like one other person, and then I'm trying to talk Mitch into doing it too. So, and then my son's very excited about helping, and he's very happy that I'm doing this.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah. Next year, I want to do something bigger. I want to do something more like what Murdoch did, like the Feed the Need. I want to do something like that here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to have to do a lot of planning.
Well, remember, if you get a lot of people together, everybody got to be armed for these things now. Otherwise, the state thugs are going to come in and try to break it up.
Yeah, and the only problem about that is I live in the state of Illinois.
Sure. Yeah. Well, maybe we can get some people imported to help out on that front.
Because the state of Illinois is very, well, especially down in Chicago, very anti-gun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is funny because Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, yet some of the highest gun crime.
Absolutely.
Makes me wonder, do laws work? No, they don't.
Yeah. It just opens up gun-free zones for people to come in there and wreak havoc.
Gun-free zone. Yeah.
Right. Well, this is like I mentioned before, this is a perfect opportunity to rally around a fellow anarchist, a fellow good person, and help them out where they might need help when the state tries to stick their dirty fingers in where they don't belong.
Yep. And I know I just met. I know there's a couple like anarchists and people in the liberty movement around me. I just don't know. I think there's more, but I just haven't found them yet. Like I talk. There's a couple people here and there that I talk to. Like I said, Mitch lives really close to me. David knows.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know Mitch.
Yeah.
And he lives not that far from me. And then apparently there's a couple others. So well, I'm gonna make a post probably later today about the backpack things because I haven't done one in a while. So I'm gonna try and get some people involved because me, a 11-year-old kid, and one other person that's gonna be kind of difficult to hand out 50 backpacks, just the three of us.
Well, yeah, make that post and we'll share it on the Podstash too, because I know there's people who follow the page that are probably in your area.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody listening that's an anarchist from Illinois, hit me up. I'm friends with both Nick and David.
Hell yeah.
It kind of sucks living in Illinois because I don't really have any friends anymore because I'm an anarchist. Like I'm friends with my son's mom and her stepdad, and then I have Mitch is my friend, and then I have like maybe one or two other friends that I occasionally talk to. But I'd love for like more liberty people to be around me so I can have conversations and like maybe hang out, you know.
Dude, I feel your pain. The wife and I moved out to the middle of nowhere to get some property and start some homesteading action. And yeah, there's not a lot of people around all the time. Definitely not of the same mindset.
Yeah, around here I got Trump fans or I got like diehard liberals. And
Oh, jeez.
They're everywhere.
Oh, no.
It's terrible over here. Even if you're in a more urban area, you know, or city area, it's still like holding the anarchist ideals. It makes you feel really isolated because it's hard to relate.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we lost you, David. You were
What's
quiet
great
there for a while.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I
it's all
had
good.
to deal with something really quick.
Fair enough. I was like, oh shit.
What's great though is I was saying that I was friends with I'm still friends with my son's mom. We have a great relationship. Like I can take my son whenever I want and stuff like that. But her new husband thinks a lot like we do.
Oh, cool.
He's not like he's almost there. And that's what I told him the other day. I was like, you're getting there, man. You're almost there.
That 6-month plan,
But,
libertarian to anarchist.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, not a libertarian. Like he did vote in the last election, but he voted Democrat. So it's an interesting situation because but no, he's a good guy. He thinks very openly, and he'll listen to me rant about the state being terrible, and he doesn't like cops either. So like we click, so it's nice.
That's good. That's really
We're
good.
co-parent because he's him, me, and her co-parent my son, and he's turned out fantastic.
That's awesome. Can't ask for much better in that situation.
Yeah, and people, it's. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that speaks to the validity of our ideas, is that you don't even have to be like trying to like push the information on somebody. Just them being around you, like for me personally, just people being around me while I'm talking about these things, or just them being in my life, they always end up thinking similarly, and it has to have something to do with like they hear the information and they process it. I'm not like pushing it on them, but eventually they're like, this is right, this makes sense. And I've had that happen a lot, and it seems you're experiencing it as well.
Yeah, and like it's been nice. Like I will say, most of my friends list on Facebook, I went from having a lot of friends from back home and a lot of family and stuff. now I have like almost all people in the liberty anarchist ideals because and I have people that have stuck around, and every once in a while they'll comment, or there's a couple people I've noticed that started liking like more of my posts more and more. Like I can see them going from being to being, oh, well, that makes sense. Like,
dude, same. It's exactly what's happened with my social media, interactions. Went from family and friends, people I knew, to a lot of people in the, I guess, quote unquote liberty movement. I fucking hate saying that, but yeah, spot on.
Yeah, I hate saying it too, but there's no other way to really describe it.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think so. It's kind of hard to describe when liberty movement, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's the worst when
more
people
than
say,
that, but
this is bad for the liberty movement. It's just like, oh my God.
That's why I hate saying it, is because people can use it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try not to say that. I usually tell people, me and my anarchist friends talk a lot about this stuff, and like when they ask,
Yeah.
that's what
It's definitely interesting how much more positive it seems like interactions in person are for all of us. Because I've definitely experienced the same things. People are a lot more open to talking about stuff in person and not being dicks than they are online.
And yes, it's because and my ex, who's my son's mom, who's a really big liberal, like voted for Hillary Clinton, like she's into that. But even she has told me that when I speak in person, it's easier to take in, and because you can hear the emotion in my voice, and like you can see the emotion on my face when I talk about it.
Sure.
Rather than on Facebook, where there's no emotion, that you can sit there and belittle someone, and it's just words on a screen. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, there's that disconnect.
you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the disconnect and the
people
desire
feel like
for a
they're
lot of
more
people to be
anonymous.
right.
Yes. Like I've gotten, as David has probably seen, I've gotten better about arguing with people. David used to come on some of my posts, and I used to have one guy that used to be all over my posts. He stopped, thankfully. I don't know if David remembers my friend Paul.
I think I remember some of those interactions.
Yeah.
Not fun, huh?
Those were interesting times. Yeah. Well, like I've gotten a lot better at keeping my cool in conversations on Facebook, except for like if I'm like shit posting on like one of the police pages when they post pictures of them with marijuana and stuff, I'm not gonna be nice. Like,
Yeah. For sure.
Like I'll be nice at first. I won't be nice in my original comment to the police on that post, but then to the people that are commenting, I'll try at first to be nice, but then they just. I usually end up calling them bootlickers, and it just I can't help it. It's when you're there trying to protect and speak good about people that are stealing and hurting people and murdering people. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be that nice.
Is it even an insult though? Like that's just like telling them what they are. Like here's the fact that you are licking boots currently. Like it's like calling someone a statist, and they're like, "You're calling me names." No, you're a statist. I'm just saying what you are.
I haven't really thought about that. I haven't really thought about that at all, but it could be. It's just I don't really look at status as calling someone a name. I'm just telling you what you are. Like this is what statism is, the most dangerous religion, and you're part of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's a pretty good spot to end it, guys. Right there, about the hour. I really want to get the info about your backpack project out there and get people to help you pass them out and help in any other way that they can.
Anybody that listens, I'll post and I'll tag you in the comments.
Sweet.
But anybody can get a hold of me through my page. It's Michael E. Smith. I'm friends with you guys. I'm friends with a lot of people that probably listen to you guys. So, other than that, I mean, I guess they could contact me through, if I'm not friends with them, they could contact me through the Smith Pyrography page. Like, just message me through there.
Yeah, absolutely. Smith Pyrography.
All right.
Michael E. Smith.
That's really the only two ways to get a hold of me is either through, yep.
Sweet. And we'll put up a post
That's really
about
the
all
only two ways
this
to get a hold of me.
on the Podstash page as well.
Sweet. Yeah, I got some good deals going on right now. I mean, now I it's Christmas, but I might extend it through the new year. Is if anybody buys that peace sign that I did, where it says peace with the Anarchy Not Work A on it, or the love with the Celtic Not Work heart. If anybody buys one of those pieces, they get a free Peace, Love, and Anarchy wooden pendant.
Awesome. And
Or if they order one of my Peace, Love, Anarchy signs, they'll get a free pendant too. And then I got a couple pieces that I posted that are up for grabs still. No one's claimed them. One of them is that Rick Sanchez
nice.
piece still sitting here.
Somebody's got to get that one. That one's awesome. And I can't imagine a better cause that your money's going to when you buy one of Michael's pieces. And they are really beautiful works of art. So definitely check those out on Smith Pyrography on Facebook and Michael E. Smith on Facebook.
Thank you, sir.
You betcha. Well, I guess that's
like I said, there's a lot of good stuff coming in the next year.
Hell yeah, we'll be watching, man. We'll put some info out there. And I guess that'll wrap it up for episode 14. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you guys later.